All right, so welcome to the On Purpose podcast. We're here today with Sarah Jean and Kirk McDowell, and we're here to live a life on purpose, to flourish and be fulfilled in all areas of our life and all the aspects of our life. So today I wanted to deep dive with Kirk about divine relationships and what it means to be in a divine relationship and how do you live a divine relationship on purpose. So relationships are the number one thing for me in my life, and it's how I relate to myself and relate to other people and the world around us. And so um, here we are for episode one.
All
welcome
right.
welcome Kirk McDowell.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Divine relationships. Okay, great. Let me just feel into that for a moment. Um, so definitely I hear the question as a couple, like perhaps a married couple, but a couple working together in a divine union, divine relationship. But I also heard divine relationship with oneself, and so I think I want to start there. Um, I know for most of my life, I have been very self-centric. That's a fancy word for selfish.
Nice. I'll use that one.
And what I mean by that is the purpose of my life was to get whatever I wanted. Um, you know, you know, as trivial as having the dinner I want to have, or seeing watch what I want to watch on TV, as trivial as that, and as noble sounding as I just want to pursue my dreams. I just want to do what feels good. I want to like that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Now that a lot of people are trying to pursue their dreams, and that's great as far as it goes. I found that to be a dead end road because what I found was over time that my dreams were very egocentric, very self-centered, very selfish, if you will. I think in our society, and when I refer to our society, I mean the United States in the time that I'm in, it's 2024, and I'm 61 years old, so it's 2024 minus 60 years or so, is kind of what I'm referring to. But in the culture that I grew up in, following your dreams was this really noble thing that if you're really lucky, you got to do that. Is how I perceived it, and almost like it's a right as an American or something like that, citizen of the United States, something like that. And that's fine. I'm not here to argue with that, but I found that to be a dead end road because I found ultimately my mind, my ego. I think I might be referring to that synonymously. But my ego, my mind wanted more comfort, more reputation, more attention, more significance, that sort of thing. And um, so I would continue to get myself in situations that didn't work for me, relationships that didn't work for me, careers that didn't work for me. Like I chose to be in medical sales at some point because I wanted to make a lot of money. I chose to be in certain relationships because I was getting what I wanted in some way. I was getting significance of being someone who could like charm or take someone's pain away from them. I've been a coach for a long time. So I would get significance from being able to take somebody's pain away from them. So that'd be significance and attention. Um, I'd get reputation by doing like noble things, coaching a lot of people, leading transformational programs, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, there was, if not entirely, there was definitely a thread of selfishness, like doing it for me, doing it for my ego, doing it for my my feel good, if you will,
Mm.
And so I have discovered that following one's dreams is kind of an illusionary thing. It's like a dream or a con we've all bought into, or many of us have bought into. That
Mhm.
may be a little harsh, but let me contrast that with being on purpose, which is going to be connected to the divine part of your question, the divine
Yeah.
relationships. So for me, being on purpose is fulfilling being someone who is fulfilling an attention far beyond my personal desires. So the relationship with myself has grown into over many years of of not doing that, has grown into being someone. I now am someone who my I don't want to say sole intention because I like sleeping on a comfortable bed and I like having air conditioning. I like eating good meals, that kind of stuff. But my life is no longer organized around that. My life is organized around fulfilling a purpose greater than myself. In my case, it's creating leadership, creating what I call heaven on earth, um, creating opportunities for people to set themselves free in the most deep and profound way.
Mm.
Uh, um, to be someone who's fulfilling the purpose of love or purpose of God beyond my own purpose, not my will, but thine be done.
And I want to just pause really quick because I'm hearing something, Kirk. And that is the divine relationship that you have with yourself first.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Yes.
so that's there and that's already in place first, foremost. Like you already made that covenant. You've
Yeah.
already set out that purpose for yourself. And then the part that we're getting into
Yeah.
next is the divine
That's what
relationship.
mine is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the divine relationship with myself is being someone who's fulfilling a purpose greater than my own. I think you could stop there and have it be divine, but I've gone further. First, it was fulfilling a purpose of love. And as I grew up agnostic, and I grew up in a very godless, loveless family, and that sort of thing. So I still have some I don't know if I call it discomfort with declaring my purpose being fulfilling the will of God, but that is actually what I'm up to. I just have to get over my own discomfort about that. But um, so that's the divine relationship within myself. And so there's a degree to which I know who I am, I know what I'm up to, I know where I've come from, I know where I'm going, and there's a degree to which that is true that I've never it's like it's never been true for me the way it is true today. Like I know these things about myself from this perspective of having a divine relationship with myself and being someone who's fulfilling a purpose greater than my own. So that's the divine relationship with myself. And then a divine relationship with another. The first thing that comes to mind is my relationship with my wife. Is I've recognized in her what I see in myself. In fact, we really created this together pretty much simultaneously in the last 4 or 5 years. But I see in her the same divine relationship with herself that I see in me. The divine relationship in me sees the divine relationship in her, if you will. And so um, now she is the exact opposite of every woman I've pursued before this new perspective. So before this new perspective, what I was looking for is someone who is wildly attractive, wildly into me, and would give me significance and feel good and without being too graphic. um, and that's literally what I was after: attention, my childhood, I would say, was absent of love. And so I was really trying to get that attention and significance and from another person, like
Yeah.
literally extract the life force out of it. It's not the way I thought of it at the time, of course, but
Yeah.
looking
I've
back,
been
yeah,
there.
literally
Yeah.
like, aha, I got you. Stick my claws into them and do what I need to do to make them feel good, so stick around and give me what I want. Basically, was the vibe
Yeah.
that I may be selling myself a little short here and there, but that was definitely the overarching, pattern. And so my wife today, we've been married for our next weekend is our 6th anniversary. So we've been married for 6 years.
Six.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But
wow.
when we first met, we never saw that coming. But that's a different story. So,
Well, congratulations.
thank you. So in her, I have a completely different interest in her, which is being with someone who sees the divinity in me and being someone whom I see the divinity in her, and that we're literally already walking in the same direction. We're already walking towards fulfilling a purpose. So I'm getting moved now. We're already walking towards um, a purpose of fulfilling God's intention, fulfilling love's intention. I'm not here to make her feel beautiful, and she's not here to make me feel respected. We've got that handled already. We're not using each other. We're uplifting each other, enhancing each other. And we've created this new thing, which is this divine union between us. And so it's literally like we're walking towards love together, just kind of reaching over and holding hands. Like, so we're walking in love. We're walking in love together. And um, so that's what comes up for
Yeah,
me.
I can just feel your heart. And so thank you for expressing that. And that it being so close, this is why I even chose that. So, and because I'm walking inside of that relationship right now with Dennis, and it's also the biggest thing that I see our community wanting to step forward in. It's all of our heart's desire to be connected in this way. And some of us don't even know what the hell we're doing. And
Yeah.
so, with that, did you know before you got together with Donna, uh, this divine intention, or was it something that you just created together as you walk
No,
by? So.
no, we got together for the most hedonistic reasons possible. I'll just let you use your imagination. And then we met John. So actually, John is an example of a divine relationship also that I have.
Mhm.
Um, um, when I met him, I was still agnostic, and I would not have been. I did not speak the way I'm speaking now. But over time, I've let in this new perspective, allowed this new perspective, and the reason I'm with John isn't because we're beer buddies, isn't because we share a common past. We don't hang out. We you know we don't hang out. We don't watch sports together. We don't. That's it's not a relationship of the body. So there's another distinction: soul friends and body friends, right? So
Mhm. Yeah,
what I've always pursued in the past are body friends, people who make my body feel good, people who make me feel good about myself, people who make me feel significant, or people from whom I can extract attention and love from. Uh,
yeah.
that literally has been pretty much the only criteria. People make me look good and feel good and that kind of stuff. Like, wow, look who he's with, or something like that.
Mm.
So none of that is present with me and John or me and Donna. And what is present with me and John is we're both deeply committed to this era. Here I go again. I think I just saw the
I love it.
so, what we're together for is this common purpose, fulfilling God's intention, bringing heaven on earth. And it has not always been fun, has not always been comfortable. We've definitely locked horns. When John and I lock horns, it's not pretty. and, but there's been this overarching deep respect for one another that we both see in each other, that we're men of capacity and resource, and they are clear-hearted and open-minded and ready to go to work on something that has nothing to do with us personally. And so, yeah, pause there.
What I hear in that is just, it's all divine. Like, you're literally bringing everything to God.
Yeah,
It's that's the core of every single thing. It's not about you. It's not about the other person. It's about what you're doing to fulfill
yeah,
God's purpose for us. And yeah, like that's huge. It's seeing the greatness in each other when
yeah.
we're needing to confess, and there's struggles, there's things that we go through that are like, what the fuck, like, really, so how would you um distinguish getting through the struggles that you faced with your divine relationships?
I want to answer that. I want to finish something up about. Hold that question for me, if you will. Sorry.
Okay, I will.
I want to finish something up on body friends versus soul
Oh
friends.
yeah, please.
So with that, it might be the same thing, but I want to articulate it multiple ways. So in that, a year or so ago, I made a conscious choice and a public declaration that from this day forward, I'm no longer pursuing body friends. So I'm not pursuing friends to go out and drink with and watch sports with, or, you know, gossip with, or whatever. It's not to say that I couldn't go have dinner with somebody or go have a beer with somebody, but that's not the purpose of my relationships anymore. The purpose of my relationships no longer is for me. The purpose of my relationship is for the fulfillment of what my soul is here for. So, soul friends. I'm reminded of something from the Bible, which is, I believe it was Peter. I'm a little shaky on the apostles, but feel free to correct me. But I believe it was Peter who, or maybe it was Paul. I don't know. Anyway, let's go with one of the apostles. When Jesus declares that he's going to go to the next city and he's going to be hurt and he's going to be, his life is going to be over. The apostle says um, uh, something like "not on my watch" or "over my dead body" or that sort of thing.
Yes,
No,
Peter.
yeah, Peter. No, this will not happen. On my watch or whatever it is. And
Hmm.
Jesus says to him, uh, "Stand behind me, Satan." And Peter was his best buddy. Like they were doing all the stuff together. I don't know about best buddies, but they were deeply connected in the way that they were. And so, but when Peter got in the way of Jesus's sole mission, Peter said, "Get behind me, Satan." So fast forward, he's about to be handed over to authorities, and Judas is about to kiss him to identify Jesus as the one for the guards to grab. Jesus says to Peter, to Judas, as Judas is coming in for the kiss, "Do what you came to do, friend." And I think that beautifully distinguishes soul friend versus body friend. So, I've made this public declaration and this deep commitment to I'm only pursuing soul friends from here on, because my life is no longer for me; it's for the fulfillment of what I'm here for what my soul is here for. So I just wanted to complete that.
Thank you for that. Uh, what is the fruit? You said you made this declaration a year
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
So would you mind distinguishing the fruit that you have today from making that declaration
Well,
and what?
things are a lot simpler. I grew up first. I grew up as a victim, and then a people pleaser. Like I went from victim to hero. Now, victim to hero was a massive upgrade for me. So I felt really fortunate and blessed. I don't know if I would have used the word blessed, but back then. But anyway, it was a massive upgrade for me to go from victim to hero. Um, and so that was kind of like the last nail in the coffin of my hero. Like, I'm not here to rescue anybody. I'm not here to help somebody with their significance, help somebody with my significance. I'm not here to make people feel good about themselves. I'm here to be an agent of freedom. I'm here to be an agent of sovereignty, of God's will. So, so it just makes things really simple, when sometimes I can see that people want to buddy up to me and be my friend and that kind of stuff. And, I'm honored and unavailable, you know.
Mm,
Uh, um, I am available when I meet a new companion, a new partner, a new um, when I see God's mission in another. Way available for that. That's literally what I'm here for. And so it just makes things really simple. I spend a lot less time with people that I don't really enjoy spending time with anymore. I don't feel any obligation to make friends with everybody. People come in and out of the village, and I think I'm known as the old crusty one, whatever people say. And I'm actually fine with that. Where at one time that might have hurt my feelings or threatened me in some way, but now it just makes things really simple, and it leaves more of me available for what I'm actually here for. So that's what I'd say the truth is.
wow. Yeah, I'm seeing that entire distinction of like leaving your body behind, like in service for God's purpose. God, it seems like everything that just keeps revolving back to God's purpose. This isn't even my purpose. This is God's purpose, and I'm surrendering to it, and so, wow. I want to go back to the question that I had
Yeah.
asked previously about being in the midst of the struggle.
Mm.
uh, and remembering that purpose when it matters the most, when you're, struggling, and um, what would be yeah, how do you become aware of that in those moments of the purpose when you're struggling?
When I'm struggling. I constantly remind myself that anything other than peace, love, and joy is an illusion. Now, I'm someone who had no idea what peace, love, and joy was until very recently. Um, I mean, I knew what the words meant and stuff, and I've had experience of joy, and I've had experience of peace, and I've had experience of love in the way that I understood them, which is different than the way that I understand them now. And um, so I've come to believe, and it's taken me a minute because it's so foreign to most of my experience in life. But I've come to believe that peace, love, and joy is the natural state for human beings. And I also notice very few human beings have any idea what I'm talking about, and I surely did not a very short time ago. Um, and So I'm someone who's very sensitive to people's emotions and energies around me, and someone who has a lot of energy, emotion inside of me. In the past, I've been highly reactive and hot tempered, and like I'm one of those guys. Finding peace, love, and joy for me was like finding an oasis in the desert. Um, and uh, and it slips away sometimes, and which is, I think, the point of your question, or as I hear it. And so when I find myself in a state other than peace, love, and joy, which is fairly frequently for brief moments and occasionally for long moments, and there's still things inside of me that hurt and memories that keep popping up and that don't feel good, and makes my blood pressure, makes my heart speed up anyway. I assume my blood pressure is rising. I feel my body temperature rise sometimes, my heart beating fast, and that kind of a desire to, get up and take some kind of action, like that kind of thing. So I still have that from time to time. And when I experience that, and that's the struggle that I'm referring to in your question, or I may be angry at someone. I may have the experience of being disrespected or undermined or undermined. I think that's how you say that, undermined. Undermound. When I have that experience, there's often an initial like anger, an initial like a little like I can I can feel that thing that used to run my life start to kind of start build up some some momentum a little bit, and I've learned to catch it early. I've noticed that I suspect I've never stopped a train with a finger, but I suspect it's a lot easier to stop a train when it's going half a mile an hour than it's going 50 miles an hour, right? So it used to
Yeah.
be I'd go from 0 to 50 at like nothing, and now got that slowed down to where I can catch it just as it's starting to move. And how I stop the train is by reminding myself that everything's perfect. All things work for good for those who are willing to serve God, God's purpose, and that anything other than peace, love, and joy is actually an illusion and a lie. Um, and um, there's I guess there's two pieces of it for me. One is getting control of my body, because my body is very reactive and
Mhm.
wants to go and handle shit, handle people, handle situations. My body's got no problem getting in the middle of whatever and like start, getting things handled right quick. And so it's like almost like having you on a leash, like you imagine like a big dog trying to charge at something. You go, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's almost like that sometimes.
Hey,
And
hang on there for a minute.
yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa, slow down. what's holding back the body is what's interesting to me, right? So, um, and I'm kind of feeling through this right now, real time, but it's my soul, or it's my commitment to love, or my commitment to God is like I'm now determined and committed that my body and my ego desires is no longer running the show. Now I love my body. I take care of it. For my age, I'm fit and healthy, and I can move around, and I can do a lot of stuff I used to be able to do as a younger man. So I respect my body, and I love my body, and I appreciate my body, but my body is no longer the point.
Mm.
The desires of comfort and reputation and significance. I feel those feelings from time to time, but I've learned to put it in the passenger seat and
Yeah.
put love on the steering wheel. So it's a combination of catching it early. That's the outside part, like getting a leash on my body, if you will. Breathing slower, closing my also like reducing for me. So I'm very sensitive, right? So reducing the stimulus coming at me is very assistive, right? So closing my eyes makes it a lot easier for me to drop into my heart. Um, Stop talking helps. I sort of have this image of like opening up my heart, like when I feel threatened, to open up my heart even more, because
Oh,
the threat is a
nice.
lie. And if I can defy the lie, if you will, like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, what's this? Then
Wow.
something changes inside of me, and my body comes under control. And then on the inside, it's reminding myself that everything's perfect, and I'm not here for whatever my body wants to go deal with. I'm here for something much, much, much more important. And then something that John said to me, started saying to me a while back, which used to really piss me off. When I would get pissed off at something that seemed really important to me, you would say something to the effect of, by the way, just let you know, all this is just like a little tiny bump in the road. There's a tidal wave coming, and you're tripping out about a little bump in the road. I suggest you get yourself in order, get ready for the tidal wave.
Oh, wow.
And that used to piss me off. Of course, I didn't let him know
Way
it
to
pissed me
steer it up
off.
there, John.
Yes, but I did finally hear, and I do hear, and I do live by the wisdom of this.
Mm. Wow. And what would be, so the another question that's coming up is, what would be the three things that you would give for advice if somebody was about to get into a marriage?
Oh, first of all, I don't give advice.
Yeah, what would
But
be the three questions before
to
before
answer your
getting
question,
into a
yes,
marriage?
but I will
How about
answer.
that?
Yeah. Uh, so what I'd have people look at is the person, are you walking in the same direction? And I mean in the deepest, most profound sense. So I would, all the things that I said, like I'd recommend against marrying someone for the gratification of your body, or your egoic desires. I'm pretty sure I've been married twice before Donna, and it was absolutely egoic in both cases. You know, for different flavors of reasons, but it was all ego and getting significance and attention in some way. Um, um, so I would. Oh, okay. Well, so first of all, I guess I'll start right where I started the conversation. I'll start with. I'd have the person start with themselves. Are you like? What are you here for? Like, what is your life here for? Like, what do you in this life that you have a very finite span? Like, I'm 61. I'm well past the halfway mark of my life. So what I use my life for is much more interesting to me than it was when I was 20. When I was 20, I didn't, whatever. What about for? I want to go party tonight. Get out of my way. Shut up. But at 61, that becomes a very interesting question. Like, yeah, what is my life for? What am I here for? So I would have somebody actually take a moment, pause, and like start to distinguish, start to see for oneself at the deepest level possible. What are you here for? What are you up to? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This amazing gift that is beyond that we all take for granted is literally beyond comprehension if you just take a moment and kind of breathe into it. We get this gift of life. And people are usually unhappy with their lives. Like I was very unhappy with my childhood, and I was unhappy with this, and I'm unhappy with the government, and la 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 la. I was
Yeah.
very unhappy with the whole COVID thing, and just all these things to be unhappy about. But and it's just this like incomprehensibly beautiful and extraordinary gift called life. So I first just like put a pause button in the trials and tribulations of the moment and go, yo, what are you doing? Kind of have that kind of conversation, right? And then
Yeah.
once that's settled, okay, great. Well, is that the same thing that your partner's up to? Well, I don't know. Well, I would get real interested. I'll get just as before you saddle up before you hitch your saddle to someone, hitch your wagon to someone, it's probably good to know where they're headed.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
are they in this relationship just to feel better about themselves? I mean, go for it, but man, I have been down that road. Oof.
Yeah. It's not pretty. And it
It's
leaves a lot, it leaves so many other people impacted because of that as well.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So, get straight, be clear, have that, are you guys walking in the same direction? And then I guess thirdly, I would make sure that I would highly recommend that this couple would be in a community that supports this that we're talking about now. Because there's no support for what I'm talking about in the world that I grew up in. Like
Mhm.
one of the benefits of one of the fruit, you asked me about fruit earlier, the fruit of something else, the fruit of committing my life to heaven on earth is I get to live in heaven on earth. I was never sure that was going to happen for me. I was sure it was going to happen for somebody. I just didn't know if I was going to be around to enjoy it. But it turns out that was my fate, is my fate for now, at least. And I'm surrounded by a community who supports exactly what I'm talking about. And that's also a very rare, special thing. So if I had to pick three things, at the moment, those would be my three things.
Yeah, I love those. I love those. And it reminds me of the distinction of like you're in the car with somebody and you have to go to the same destination with this person. But, like being on purpose is the gas that's inside of the vehicle. If you don't have that, you're going to get in the car, you just ain't going to go nowhere. It's
Well,
so
no, you're going to go somewhere, but it's not.
but it's not going to go where you want it to go,
Yes.
so it's yeah, it just reminds me of that, so have the thing that you're going towards, the fuel that you're really that'll drive the vehicle with you,
Yeah.
so yeah. Yeah. uh, what came to mind also is it touched my heart the way that you speak about Donna and your relationship, and your anniversaries coming up, and uh what is something that you'd like to share with us about Donna right now that touches you and moves you, that you're spent 6 years with this person that you're just so grateful for?
Um, I'm really grateful to be seen. Wow, this is so weird. The me 5 years ago would be literally going crazy in this conversation. But yeah, what I'm most inspired by with her is to be seen and related to as a God-fearing man. I'm just laughing. It's just been quite a journey. I get to be seen as someone who's fulfilling a purpose greater than my own. I get to be seen and recognized as someone who, spreads love and creates opportunities for people to set themselves free and for people to become great leaders. And I'm not judged for everything that I'm not. I'm appreciated for what I am. Just that's a blessing that I've never had before. It's beyond my wildest imagination.
Wow, to be appreciated for who you are.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. Uh that'll lift anyone up.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's been a minute since it's been a long life until these last few years.
And you said the you 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
You brought it up, so it's coming on. So
Uh,
you say more about this.
I was, I was not an atheist, but I was agnostic. I was clear something was going on in the universe, but I had no idea what it was. And I was deeply repelled. You know, the saying, I understand atheists, I don't believe in the God they don't believe in also. Well, I had many bad experiences with religious people, with God-fearing people and
Yeah.
Christians, and ripped off, lied to, manipulated. Um, you know, I spent my first and second grade in a Catholic school, and it was horrendous. It was awful. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I've been had Bibles shoved in my face by angry people who are clearly in hell, wanting me to follow them. People trying to pretend to be God and clearly evil and manipulative. And that has almost been my entire experience with religion. People who spoke the name God or Jesus, that's really been 90% easily of my experience with anytime those two words come up, 90% something dark is present, you know.
Wow.
And I I don't think that was an illusion. I think that's true. And so 5 years ago, I was still in that space, not angry about it anymore, but not interested in altering my perspective, you know. But really just living with John and, um, um, working with John, working closely with John. And I, about the things I'm interested in, I would consider myself an extremely keen observer. If there's something I'm interested in, I'm definitely paying attention.
Yeah.
Ever since I met John, I've been very interested in the results that he produces with people. And so from that perspective, I've been still do like watch him like with great attention and always with a commitment to learn something new. And the fruits of his beliefs and the fruits of his commitment and the fruits of his actions are beyond undeniable. Unique, I would say, at least in my experience. And so that I I'm a very results oriented person. people people can talk to me all day long, but I want to see what you produced. I want to see the fruit of your beliefs. So whatever you're telling me I should believe, first show me the fruits for you and this thing that you would like me to take on. And I found also with great reliability, people are completely unable to do that. And so I disregard most teachings and coachings and suggestions for people because most people don't have the fruit to back it up. And John is very much the opposite of that. And so you know, uh, over these last 5 years or so, there's been just a string of miracles, things by miracle I mean um, things in the world that would essentially be impossible that come like immediately, like with no effort and no plan. I'm someone who is sharp-minded and very well trained in making things happen in the world and strategies and planning and backup plans for the backup plans and tactics and have trained people and such. Like it's kind of been my thing for a long time. But what we've produced here far exceeds what's possible from that paradigm. And so basically, I just got bludgeoned to death with miracles and love and results I couldn't possibly produce with all the ways I know how to produce it. I was like, okay, fine.
You're like, I can't help. but I can't deny this shit no
I
more. You
surrender.
got me.
Yes. So I could just see the person before he was bludgeoned to death with miracles and love bombs and all the rest of it, like what are you talking about? I could see that person listening to this conversation like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's extremely humorous.
It's beautiful. Uh, I hear such a golden thread within this conversation, and that being source, God, the creator. And living a life of purpose is one, knowing oneself,
Yeah.
who you are, what you are, what you're here to do for God's purpose that he has designed for your life, and to create that life on purpose, to really intentionally put your blood, sweat, and tears, and get rid of the body, get rid of the pleasures that you're seeking. It's not about your attention. It's not about your image. It's not about what your reputation's going to be like. It's what your service is here, the contribution that you are here just by being yourself. And that pours out into the relationships around you. And yeah,
I,
thank you
I
for that.
heard something last night that I don't think I've heard before. And I heard it through someone else, and this other person said that John said it, so it's kind of interesting. But he's something about not always on duty, but always on call.
What do you
So,
mean by that?
well, no, always, yeah, not always on duty, but always on call. So I'm not 100% focused every minute of every day. Like, okay, what can I do to serve God's purpose? Sometimes I'm having a great meal. Sometimes, having dinner with my wife. Whatever. Playing a game of chess or whatever. Taking a nap. It's just whatever. Uh, but I'm always on call. If the bell rings, I will surely be there. So I'm not always on duty. I do enjoy some of the comforts that we have here with that swimming pool and whatever, right?
Yeah.
I'm not always on duty. I'm not always on the job, but I am always on call, and I'm committed to living a life in which I can respond to the call whenever it happens. So I can be on.
What inspired that train of thought?
Um, I've had something similar for a long time. I used to speak of it in a way of living life. So some years back before I met John, I got deeply committed to being a contribution. I was going through a really dark place in my life, and I could feel myself going back to old patterns and old ways of being, and wanting to manipulate and lie, cheat, steal my way through my circumstances, wanting to use people to claw my way out of whatever I was dealing with. I could feel it coming. I could feel the darkness coming back. And so I made my problem a little more difficult by committing to being the biggest contribution that I've ever seen, and having my ability to be a contribution be the source of my ultimate victory. And victory was not overnight, but it was. So I've had this idea, and then just last night I heard it said in such a way that just encapsulated that story into, yeah, always on call. Like if the bell rings, you can count on me to be there. But I'm not like every second, every minute on duty. I'm not,
Mm.
like I allow myself rest, I allow myself pleasure, I allow myself leisure. But it's no like it's okay to have earthly comforts, but in my whole life before recently, earthly comforts have me.
Yeah.
So I'm not promoting, uh, uh, you know, uh, uh, some people take spiritual beliefs to, this super austere, incredibly rigorous. 12 hours of meditating a day or something like that. I'm not, that may be other people's divine path. It's not mine as far as I can tell.
Mm.
So my life outwardly looks similar to what it always has looked at. I have a smaller casita, and I have less belongings and things, but arguably it looks similar, except that those things and the accumulation of those things are no longer driving the show. What is driving the show is being on purpose and being available when the bell rings. And the bell rings periodically, and I'll show up.
I love that. I love that distinction. It reminds me of filling your cup up first. You
Yeah,
know, you got to
yeah,
fill your cup up because when you're pouring it out to everyone else, your family, your friends and your career, at the end of the day, if you're not filling your cup up, you're left empty. And
yeah,
there's certain things sleep is one, fitness is another, so there's certain attributes. And
yeah,
yeah, again, that's knowing who and what and why you are here. So thank you, Kirk. Thank
yeah.
you
So
for this.
wonderful,
And
wonderful questions.
yeah. You have anything that you'd like to share and before we close this out?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for doing this. I think this will be valuable for people, and I appreciate you inviting me into this and being part of it.
You're welcome. And I just, yeah, for anybody out there that's listening or is wondering about this work and the things that we're doing and how to live a life on purpose, you can contact us. There's www.earthwakingvillage.com, and you can contact us. I'll leave some descriptions inside of the chat below, and we're here to be a resource for you and a service to you if you'd like to
Awesome.
dive deeper into these connections and divine relationships. So
Awesome. Thank
thank
you. All right.
you.
Appreciate it. Okay.